morning sun streamed through the massive glass walls of the Bennett estate, casting golden light over marble floors and art that cost more than most houses. Michael Bennett, the billionaire CEO of Bennett Holdings, sat at his breakfast table, scrolling through market updates on his tablet. Everything in his world was about precision, order, and control. The staff moved silently around him, well-trained, discreet, invisible. Or at least, that's how he liked it. Among them was Maria, the new maid. She was quiet, polite, and worked harder than anyone else. She'd only been there 3 weeks, but she'd already cleaned every inch of the mansion without complaint. Michael barely noticed her. She was just another face in the sea of help he employed. That morning, as Michael finished his breakfast, scrambled eggs, smoked salmon, and avocado toast, he waved his hand for the plate to be taken away. "You can clear it," he said absently. Maria nodded. The moment he turned his head back to his tablet, she quickly picked up the plate and disappeared into the kitchen. A few hours later, Michael had a sudden craving for another cup of coffee. He walked down the hall toward the kitchen, his Italian shoes making a steady rhythm on the marble. As he approached, he heard something, a faint clinking sound. Curious, he slowed his steps and peered through the slightly ajar kitchen door. What he saw froze him in place. Maria sat on the floor, behind the large counter, her back against the wall. In her hands was his leftover breakfast. She was eating it quickly, almost desperately, as if afraid someone would catch her. Her movements were careful but hungry. Every few seconds, she paused and listened for footsteps. Then she took another bite. Michael stood there, hidden from sight, his chest tightening. He'd seen a lot of things in his life. Competitors lying, partners cheating, even family turning against him for money. But this was something different, something raw, human. He stepped back quietly, not wanting her to know he'd seen. He returned to his office, sat behind his massive oak desk, and tried to focus on his work. But he couldn't shake the image of her sitting on that cold floor, eating food he'd discarded. At lunch, he deliberately stayed out of the kitchen. He asked one of the other staff, "Has Maria eaten today?" The cook looked puzzled. "The maids usually eat after serving the staff meal, sir." "But Maria, she doesn't join us much." "So she's not hungry?" Michael frowned. "I see." That night he couldn't sleep. His wealth, the mansion, the cars, the investments, all felt meaningless compared to the quiet shame of what he'd witnessed. The next morning, he rose earlier than usual. As the staff started their routine, he walked into the kitchen again. Maria froze when she saw him. Her eyes widened, and she immediately lowered her gaze. "Good morning, sir," she whispered. "Good morning, Maria," he said softly. "Can I speak with you for a moment?" She nodded nervously, wiping her hands on her apron. He gestured to the table. "Please sit." Her eyes flickered with panic. "Sir, I can't sit at your table." "You can today," he said gently. She hesitated, then sat down at the edge of the chair, like she was afraid to leave marks on it. Michael poured coffee for both of them and pushed a plate of fresh pastries toward her. "Eat," he said simply. Her hands trembled. "Sir, I shouldn't—" "It's not a command," he interrupted quietly. "It's an offer." For a long moment neither spoke. Then slowly, Maria picked up a small piece of bread and took a bite. Michael waited before asking, "Why were you eating leftovers yesterday?" Her face turned pale. You saw me?" He nodded. Tears welled in her eyes. "I'm sorry, sir. Please don't fire me. I didn't mean to steal. I just—" "Steal?" he repeated, surprised. "You were hungry, Maria. That's not stealing." She wiped her cheeks. "I don't have money for food sometimes. I send almost everything I earn to my daughter in the province. She's sick. I can't let her go without medicine." Michael's throat tightened. "You're a mother?" She nodded. "Yes, sir. She's only 6. The doctor said she needs a treatment every month, and it's expensive. I take whatever work I can, but sometimes I go hungry so she can eat." He sat back, silent for a moment, staring at the woman who had scrubbed his floors and dusted his art while hiding her own hunger. "How long have you been doing this kind of work?" he asked. "Since I was 16. I never finished school. My husband left before my daughter was born." The room felt heavier with each word. Michael had been born into wealth. He'd never known hunger or fear of losing a home. But as he looked at Maria, he realized how blind he'd been to the quiet struggles around him. "Maria," he said at last, "you won't go hungry here again. From today onward, you'll eat the same meals as I do, and you'll take home a food package for your daughter every week." Her lips parted in shock. "Sir, I can't accept that." "You can," he said firmly. "And you will." Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Bennet. I'll never forget this." He smiled faintly. "You remind me of my mother. She worked hard for everything she had. She would have liked you." Over the next few weeks, Michael noticed something change in the house. The staff smiled more. The kitchen was warmer. And Maria, she glowed differently. He learned her daughter's name was Elena, and one day he quietly arranged for the child's medical bills to be paid through a foundation. Maria never knew it came from him. Months passed, and Maria's daughter recovered. Maria often came to work with a spark in her eyes and brought small gifts from her village. Handmade bread, a carved wooden cross, a smile that carried gratitude words couldn't express. One evening, after the staff had left, Michael walked into the kitchen again. The table was spotless except for a small envelope. It was addressed to him. Inside was a note written in careful handwriting. "Mr. Bennet, you gave me more than food. You gave me dignity. I prayed for a miracle and it came through you. Thank you for seeing me." Below the note was a small drawing of a house with a smiling child holding her mother's hand. Michael set the note down, feeling his throat tighten again. For the first time in years, he felt something richer than success, compassion. He realized that wealth wasn't measured in money or power, but in how deeply you touched another life. And that night, as the city lights twinkled beyond the mansion's glass walls, Michael Bennet whispered to himself,